Yep.
Hooray.
I did it. Oh, it's so nice to have such power. Anyway, I want to thank everyone for coming today. Prakash is still a fairly new member. However, I think he knows everybody because he's just that kind of guy. And I remember meeting Prakash maybe about 4 years ago when he and Uma came to a meet me at the village. And I knew right away these were going to be great village members, but it sure took him a long time to finally join. But I'm so glad he's here. Prakash,
He has pictures. So you need to find out.
Shrivastava is a wonderfully interesting man. He's going to tell us about his background. And we are all really happy that you are a village member, Prakash, and we will have plenty of time to ask him questions and comment on the things he's going to share with us. Prakash, would you like us to save our questions till the end, or would you prefer that we just ask as we go?
I would like it to be a conversational meeting.
Okay.
And
So
therefore,
we'll just...
feel free to ask, and it is just conversational. I am not going to make it very formal, although I do have some slides to share.
Okay. This is great. Now, one thing I do want to ask of everyone is, please, you might want to mute yourself if you think there might be some unexpected background noise, or if you need to pick up the phone or talk to someone in the room, please mute yourself, because even if you step away from the computer, we can all hear it and it's disruptive. So please remember where your mute button is. And thank you so much, Prakash, you're on.
Okay. Thank you very much, Karen, for all that fantastic introduction. And thank you, all of you, for joining this thing to listen to what I am doing. To begin with, I will start by telling you about my recent hobby. Rather than start from the beginning, I'll start from the end, what I am doing now. And so happens that I am involved in a fun project. Can you see the slide? My retirement project. And basically, the retirement project is to provide affordable prosthesis for amputees. If you see on the slide, there are four people who have, each one has an amputated leg, and they have been provided a device to fit on their leg so that they can do their activities. The first one can ride a motorcycle. The second one is showing that he can comfortably climb upstairs. The fourth one is riding and walking and those kinds of things. I am trying to do this project in India together with a medical school and an engineering school. Initially, it was funded by the government of India for a while, but now the funding is over, and we are still carrying on making this a 3D printed prosthesis.
Wow.
It has an advantage that it can be made to fit the stump of the person so accurately that it eliminates all kinds of pains and trouble to his leg. There is a problem with it. Many hundreds of people are trying this around the world, but it turns out that it is not durable. The 3D printing thing ends up breaking. So either we have to make it better material or make it a better design so that it won't break. I think me and the associate engineer that works with me in India we are almost probably the first, as far as I know, to make a pretty durable socket so that the patient can walk on it for many years. And it's going to be affordable compared to what is available to them now. That's the project. It looks like this. And you can see that patient is going to walk up the steps quite easily. And so that is where my hobby project is. Why did I get here and how did I get here is a long story. I retired as a professor of radiation medicine and medical physics, because my original degree is a PhD degree in nuclear physics. And then I spent a considerable amount of time trying to understand and trying to make applications of nuclear physics in medicine. And most of that is in radiation areas, radiology, radiation oncology, and nuclear medicine. So that's what I do. I did all my life. And I have published maybe 60, 70 papers in major journals, and 3 of them stand out to my mind anyways as particularly original contributions. One of them is mammography. Initially, in the 1970s, mammography could detect a breast cancer, but only big ones. And that required so much radiation that if we screened millions of women with it, it will produce far more cancers in the breast than detect. So that was no good. That's when I got involved in it. And we did find some methods to reduce the dose to such an extent that by about 1981, 82, it became possible to use it as a screening tool. The second contribution that I made was computerized calculations of how radiation distributes inside the body, and to calculate it so that we could concentrate it on the tumor and cure it better than we did before. So that's the radiation dose thing. Third one, it turned out in the middle 80s, a biologist found out that if the tumor that is to be treated could be heated slightly from the normal temperature of 97 degrees to like a high fever of 103 degrees, 104 degrees. And then they give the radiation. So you mix the heat and the radiation. That treatment started to be called hyperthermia and had a much better effect. The problem was, how do we heat a tumor inside the body, let us say a ping pong sized ball in the liver, and also measure what temperature it was without heating the entire liver? And that became a problem. I worked on it for many years. We succeeded in some things, and in other things did not succeed consistently. We could do it sometimes and not do sometimes. So the government started to not pay. The paying agencies started to not pay for those treatments, and many people gave up. Only 3 or 4 centers, Duke, Stanford, and one more. But they still try to do it, even if they don't get paid. And it's still succeeding quite a lot. I happen to become the national director of the Hyperthermia Physics Center for the United States under a program of the NIH. So that was my professional and modern hobby thing. That is my background. If you want to know about my original background and education, I was born in a lower middle class family in India. I did a master's degree in physics and maths. I got all the honors and earned all the university's gold medals. So I got selected as a Government of Italy international scholar to do research in nuclear physics in Rome. I went there and I had a wonderful 2 years, all paid for by the government of Italy. and a very wonderful Italian life. Then I met a professor from the University of Texas, who was a consultant to the government of Italy. And he said I should come to Austin, Texas, and do my PhD in nuclear physics, which is what I did. At first, I thought Texas was America, and I thought that everybody said howdy instead of how do you do. I didn't know what howdy meant. Anyways, I was very happy with that. Once I finished that, the government of India, who had given me scholarships all my educational life, said I must come back and work with the nuclear weapons programs. But me being a pacifist, a vegetarian, and not wanting to do anything to do with wars and destruction, I did not want to do that. So somehow, with the help of the ambassador of India to the United States, I was able to change my expertise from pure nuclear physics to medicine, to medical applications of nuclear physics, which was use of radiation in medicine. And I did that at the University of Toronto. So I was educated in India, in Rome, in Texas, Toronto, and then I also spent some time in the United Kingdom, in UK. I'm going to divide my talk. This was the profession thing and education. Now I want to talk a little bit about health. Like everybody else, I have had a wonderful life, but it is also full of some grief, sicknesses, illnesses, and all kinds of things, which is normal for everybody. And therefore, some years ago, mostly after retirement, about 10 years ago, I started to doing every day. And I do this for a special reason. And that special reason is in the next picture. That is my father at his 95th birthday, on that horse. On his 95th birthday, and that is because he did yoga every day, from at least for 1 hour, no matter where he was. Even if he was on a railway station, he would do his yoga on the railway station. But he was in very good health. At 95th birthday, he was doing this. Since in the village, we are growing up, we are having this health issues and things like that, I think this is a wonderful option for some of us to do. And I will hope that every one of us can be like that on our 95th birthday. That's why I started doing it. I'm not sure how well it's going to do. In addition, I started to, in my retirement, had a little hobby. I've never done this before, being a scientist and a mathematician, but I started to learn to draw. And this is one of my drawings. I think you people can probably recognize it. That is Mother Teresa praying. And she became a saint in India. I have been very impressed with all the work she has done in India. So that's a picture that I drew. In addition to the health, I have been good education, great family, great profession. I have been also very lucky to have traveled a lot all over the world in many professional as well as individual travels. So I've been to many, many countries under those circumstances. And first professionally for the last 30 years, and now in retirement just for pleasure. Other than that, let me talk to you about my family. This is my father and mother in India. I think at this time my father is around 75, My mother is around 70. And my father lived to be 102 and never was sick very often. Even passed away in an hour or two. He was a bit uncomfortable and then passed away. So that was very lucky for me. From family's point of view, I have 6 grandchildren, very proud of them. I feel very grateful, so much so that I now live my life with an attitude of gratitude. The next one is a travel in the Bryce Canyon. This one was what happened to that one? Yeah, this one is in Patagonia. There was a big iceberg behind us. I'm in a boat, me and my wife. So that was wonderful. My father, my grandchildren, and my wife and I were in Bryce Canyon just recently. Unfortunately, as soon as we came back, we were positive with coronavirus, and therefore we had to about 2 weeks are almost over. On Friday it will be over. We are now negative, so we are all fine. And then all these good things end up being in the Pasadena Village. And that is quite a fortune. I am really happy being a member now. And I have left out all the community works that I did over the years in my life. But if anybody's interested, I'm happy to talk about it. So thank you very much.
Oh, that was just wonderful. I am really interested in the prostheses that you are involved in making. What are they made of? I mean, they're printed. So what is the material that they're made of?
These are thermoplastics. These are thermoplastics. There's a 3D printing machine. You put a thermal plastic wire into it. It gets heated, melts, and dissolves, and then the computer controls where it puts that drop and drop by drop by drop.
Oh.
And makes up a solid thing.
And how long does it take to make that?
It takes about 13 hours to make one socket. You know, and this is the socket. This just the top part is the socket.
Right.
It takes about 13 hours to print it on that machine. However, it takes another 13 to 15 hours of a good educated engineer to design it on a computer program.
Oh, I imagine. Yeah.
Based on the patient's anatomical data of the size and shape and every little detail of the stump that is left over after the surgery.
So do you do like a casting of it?
No, yeah, we take pictures with a special camera, 3-dimensional pictures, and from that reconstitute the shape of the stump. And from that shape of the stump, we program the 3D printer to print out exactly the inside of that thing is exactly like the shape of the patient's stump.
Wow. I think that's wonderful.
So that's what we do on that. So happens because of I used to go about 3 times a year to India to do this. But last 2 years, because of the COVID, I have not taken that chance.
Right. So you said one of the problems with it is that they break. Well,
yes.
That must be very dangerous for the person using it if it
yes.
should break.
That's right. So that is why we have improved it, and we can measure even technically with computerized systems of simulation, and we have come up with something which will not break now. Okay. And as I said to you, I think it's one of the first in the world that I know of which is of that quality strength. So let's see, still not distributed yet, but there are patients. Those are patients that I showed you. Many of them have now walked with this thing for more than 2 years.
Oh, that's amazing.
So I'm really happy with it. As long as I can do it, I will continue doing it. I have to support it either by myself or with friends and donors and so on.
Mhm.
So
that's a
So
pretty
I-
wonderful hobby.
yeah. I am
I have a
trying it.
I thought you were going to talk to us about your harmonica.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, did I let the cat out of the bag?
I know, yeah, a little bit. So happened, I have regrets in my life. I don't know if you people have regrets, but I think everybody has some regrets. They didn't do this, they didn't do that. My regret is that I never learned music in my life. And one of the major reasons was I'm the oldest in the family. Next to me is my sister. She's 3 years younger. And so my father wanted us to learn music, and he had a teacher. He would come and teach both of us to whatever, sing or play the harmonium or whatever it was. But me, as usual, used to ask more questions. And I asked him so many questions. He says, you're asking too many questions. You're spoiling all the teaching. And therefore, you go away and your sister will learn. So I went away. And from then on, I never paid any attention. 2 years ago, I was at the Senior Center, Pasadena Senior Center, as a volunteer from the Rotary Club. And somebody was giving a talk that one should learn music. And one can start to learn music at any age. So I decided that I should also try. And before coming home that day, I went to a music store, bought myself a harmonica. and came home. But the thing is so difficult. Oh man, so difficult. I find it so difficult. To make noises, to make anything, very difficult.
Well, but think of this, Prakash. Once you master it, then you could maybe join the music circle.
Well, if you people can nudge me, kick me, can nudge me or kick me or do something that I end up doing that, I'll be very happy if I'm able to do that. So yesterday I was making some noises, and it was really quite bad. That Uma, my wife, she said, you're making terrible noises. So I decided I won't even make a note for you.
Okay, that's too bad.
And because I'm not very good at it.
Well, maybe next year.
Yeah, let's try.
Yeah.
I'm interested, but since I never, I don't even hum any songs or anything in my mind. And that's probably my big drawback. And I know many of you are such good musicians. You'll have to teach me.
But you listen to music, right?
I can listen, but I don't particularly go for it.
Interesting. Well, does anyone else have any questions or comments they want to make for Prakash?
I want to say, this is Betty Ann. Prakash, that is a fascinating thing. Here we've known you all this time, and we didn't know half the stuff about you. In fact, we didn't know 90% of it.
Yeah.
Don't you worry, Betty Ann. I don't know 90% either.
But I think you should play your harmonica, blow one note for us. No. Was that it?
It's so, my granddaughter says it's too choppy, Nana.
Oh, that's funny.
I didn't hear it.
I didn't
hear anything either.
Huh?
He muted himself while he did that.
Oh,
No, I didn't.
Okay,
Yeah, do it again.
we didn't hear it.
No, I think it is the microphone cannot pick up that frequency.
That could be.
Oh, that could be.
Okay, well, we'll have a harmonica playing at the village someday.
All
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Okay, at least I played it and you didn't hear it, so
Good.
I'm okay.
We'll have another hoot nanny and we'll feature Prakash and his harmonica.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well, this is a really interesting presentation. Your
Yeah, it is.
background is very diverse and interesting, and I am impressed with your willingness to take a stand on your pacifist ideology and change careers for the sake of humanity, and that impressed me quite a bit.
It has been great in that sense. It has been great in that sense. In addition, in the community service areas, I've done a number of things. I was the primary person, president, and initiator of a Hindu temple in Pittsburgh, and I'm not a very religious person at all. It's in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Amazing.
It's a huge temple now, and it's running very well. When I came to California, people here asked me in Pasadena to start a Hindu temple. I helped them just because of some organizational things. As I said to you, I'm not very religious at all.
There is a
And-
Hindu temple in Pasadena.
That's what I started.
Oh,
Where is it?
it's over
on
on
Rosemead.
Rosemead.
It's on Rosemead, very near California,
Yeah.
on the corner of California and Rosemead.
We should all
Oh,
go visit it someday.
that would be very
It's really
interesting.
fun.
Yeah, they are having certain problems because of the COVID situation and because it's enclosed a little too much.
Oh,
So they are not having open meetings there. But yeah, it's still going on. Other people are running it. And let's see where it goes.
Hey, Prakash, I wanted to say one more thing. Did you
Mm.
know that Bruce and I are both pacifists?
I'm just learning that, and you look like one.
Thank you, Prakash.
When you were
When I told, yes, when I told a airline hostess in Singapore Airlines that I wanted a vegetarian meal, and they were short on vegetarian meals. So I said, I really want a vegetarian. Sir, can you not have the non-vegetarian? No, I cannot. Sir, can you not have it? No, I cannot. So third, she says, you're really a vegetarian? I said, yeah. She says, you don't look like one.
That's so funny.
well, what does a vegetarian look like? I figure they probably are thin,
Skinny.
but I mean, other than that, what does a vegetarian look like?
He looks like a
hippie.
A hippie.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
That's something like that.
Like Betty Ann and Bruce.
Yeah. He's not vegetarian. I mean, they may not be vegetarians, so they don't have to be a pacifist, but
it's a good idea.
No, you don't. And I consider myself a pacifist, but I'm not a vegetarian.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about it, but then I can't go there. Not yet.
When I grew up as a vegetarian. I'd
Of
never
course.
eaten meat in my life, not once.
Mm.
Is
And I
Uma,
lived in all countries, in Italy and China and Japan and wherever else. And I had no problem.
so Prakash, is Uma a vegetarian?
No,
No.
not at all.
Huh.
Ah,
At home, we usually are. She usually doesn't cook at home unless there are guests. And my children are not either, except one.
Interesting.
But my grandchildren are vegetarians. So it takes a generation.
Skips a generation, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of families have a mix of vegetarians, vegans, and carnivores. of
When I
various
first
kinds.
came here, nobody would understand what a vegetarian was.
Yeah,
And then they said, why? And they said it must be some kind of a stupidity, which maybe it is. Which maybe it is, but
Hmm.
they said, where do you get your protein? And I said, you get the protein from the cow. Where does the cow get the protein? and they immediately realized they got it from the grass,
What?
right? The cow gets its protein from the grass. I get it from the grass.
yeah. Interesting.
So Prakash, when you were at USC, you were working on mammography there at some point?
That time mammography had been finished. I
Oh,
was
okay.
working on hyperthermia.
I see. So did you know Ashraf Imam when you were there?
Ashraf Imam. I think I think I met him. Didn't know him too much.
Okay.
Which department was he in?
Uh, he was working on cancer of the breast. Research. He's doing
Researcher.
research.
Yeah. Hmm.
They brought him over from the Huntington Research Institute here in Pasadena to USC.
Oh, I see. Yes. That's why I just met him, but he came late.
He's always on time. I don't know why he came late.
No, but after I left, I came to USC in 1989, and I was there till 2013.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he might have not quite been there yet. Okay.
Yes. But I heard her name. He was something was there going on there.
So I have a question, Prakash. This is Wayne.
Sure, Wayne.
Concerning your prothesis, has anybody picked them up as far as wholesalers or?
No, not yet. No. Hopefully somebody will, and the money will go to the charity. And now you brought that something else in my mind. No, so far nobody has picked it up. There is a sort of a reputation that these things are not sturdy. I mean, that they break down, because the majority of hundreds of people in the world who have tried it have had that problem. As I said, we are probably one of the first ones who can make it so that it will last 2, 3 years, 4 years. I think now even more. Maybe I should tell you, I'm also a founder trustee of a medical institute in India. In the 1980s, a friend of mine and myself, while having lunch, felt that we were successful in this country mainly because of the free education, free and very high quality education that we got in India. So we felt maybe we should do something back for that country. And the question came up, what shall we do? So he says, okay, let's write to our friends that we feel that way, this way. And if you also feel that way, will you be willing to contribute some monies so that we can do some good projects in India? We were 5 friends. We wrote to 10 people each, and all of them, at least 20 of them, said they will all give $10,000 each. We'd never seen $200,000 in those days. So we thought that was very good. So my friend, who is a cardiologist, he decided to go and open a cardiology center there. And from one thing or the other, in the last 20 years, it ended up becoming a 500-bed nonprofit hospital. And finally, we ended up making it into a medical school and a nursing school. So it is there. And I still go and I do all these projects through in their place as my contributions to that. So if it sells, it will make money for that institution for perpetuity.
Wow, that's impressive.
That's
So where do
very-
you get your energy from, Prakash?
The non-vegetarian food.
That's what. I was
And
gonna
yoga.
say.
Grass.
Grass and yoga.
The vegetarian food. You kick yourself, it works out well.
Well,
If-
all that energy he saves from not being aggressive, he channels into creative ventures.
Yes,
To some extent, that's possible. I don't get too carried away aggressively. Sometimes I get, but only for a short time. But yes, it has. I think I got it also from my mother and my father. My father was a very industrious man. When I was born, he was only a high school graduate, about 25 years old at that time. And by the time I finished high school, he put himself, in spite of his job, through college, through everything, and the law school.
wow.
Wow.
So the year I finished high school, finished law. And within 3 years, he became the most famous lawyer in that city, a tax lawyer, because he used to work in a tax department as a very small officer. So that became so we have to learn from him, and he was very industrious. Then in his life, after his retirement, he took up the cause for the blind and ended up helping some schools, making some schools for the blind. So much so that 2 of the presidents of India gave him an award for his community service. So I mean, he was, you learn from those kinds of people who were really very hardworking. I was a very fortunate man. That's why I always live with an attitude of gratitude and thank them. It's not me, it just happens.
But we know Prakash is a little aggressive at ping pong.
Ah, okay, so it really is there.
That's a good place to express your aggression,
Yeah.
isn't it? And also, I play tennis.
Oh,
I still play tennis.
okay.
I haven't played for the last 1 year because my partner, whom I stay with for the last 10 years, like a dummy, he refused to get vaccinated. So I said, yeah, forget it. I'm not going to play with you.
Okay. All right.
That's too bad.
And I feel sorry. And I feel sorry that I had to do that.
But you
So I will
have
have
to
to-
take a stand for your health.
I'll have to find some other people. Now, Tony, Tony, she is pushing me to play pickleball.
Yes.
He is a pickleball enthusiast.
I think we should all try pickleball.
I
Okay,
think you should.
That'd be
okay.
I'll
Yeah,
be
Carl.
an observer.
There is a recipe in India that you can take anything and make it into a pickle by adding red chilies and salt.
Yes.
Yeah, there are other ways to get pickled too, you know.
Yeah. I'm always in a pickle.
Well, Prakash, I really appreciate the time you took to share your life with us. And if there aren't any more questions or comments to make to Prakash, we'll wrap it up. And this recording will be on our website soon.
I have a question.
All right.
Prakash, my uncle was a physicist and his name was Van de Graaff. And he,
Van de Graaff.
yes, and he, well, he took care of my highest level of education. So I'm very grateful to him.
Oh my
But-
goodness.
But additionally, he worked with his best friend, whose name was John Trump. And John Trump and my uncle were at MIT, and then they worked at High Voltage Corporation.
Yes, Van de Graaff. There's a Van de Graaff accelerator.
Yes, and John Trump worked on applications of physics for peaceful purposes. He had a son also named John who had cancer. So he became interested in cancer applications from physics for using a generator so that was back in the very, very early days.
Early
a
50s,
precursor.
early 60s, early 50s and 60s.
Yeah. A precursor of what
Van de Graaff is a very well revered name in physics, especially radiation physics, because he made machines which produced the radiation. And I did one of my experiments on these things on the Van de Graaff generator. So I'm very proud to know somebody like you.
Well, believe me, it's not I.
Even if it's the uncle,
Yeah.
if it's the uncle.
But I was just interested in that, and I've always been fascinated by having known this wonderful, gentle man named John Trump, who was
John.
so entirely different from
Yes.
his nephew.
Is this his nephew? No.
Yes, the president is his nephew. So
Oh my God.
this
The
is,
former president.
yes, so this is my supreme example of cognitive dissonance is the name Trump.
I don't know if you can see, I don't know if you can see this picture, but this is the picture of the scientists that I worked with in Rome.
Uh-huh.
It's a fantastic picture, very, very personal to me. And the one in the end with his hands in the pocket, little distant. He
Yeah.
was the American professor who invited me to the United States.
Uh-huh. Wonderful.
I was going to put it in the thing, they couldn't.
Mhm.
So it has been life. Like the movie, The Wonderful Life, right?
Thank you for
It's a Wonderful Life, the Italian movie.
Yes.
How many of you speak Italian? I speak about four languages, so that's fun. Italian is my favorite. I mean, I lived in Italy for some time, so that was great.
Mhm.
How many of you like Italian food?
Oh,
Well,
absolutely.
It's
I'm
wonderful.
cooking Italian tonight.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Well, thank you so much. Are there any other questions
must-
or comments?
I must also say how much I'm enjoying the village. And the particular things that I really enjoy is the urban walk. I enjoy the ping pong. I am having fun with this new thing that I started called the Cultural Exchange Group.
Mhm.
which is a potluck dinner with people trying to discuss, read something, either a story or a poem or watch a movie and come together and talk about it. We call it the Cultural Exchange Group, CEG. You must have seen some,
Oh, yeah. It sounds
some-
wonderful to me.
and it has been very nice. So we are having people, and it has been going on quite continuously the last 6 months, I guess.
Mhm.
Started in
Close to
April.
that, yeah.
Started in April. So it's going well. It's quite nice.
And you know, you've really brought a lot to the village, and I think the key to the village is everybody has something to bring to the village.
Ah,
And
in
there's
that case,
always someone who's
It-
going to be interested in what you are doing.
in that
And,
case,
That's the beauty of the village.
in that case, I'm going to ask you a survey question. I am thinking that our group of people here could use humor.
It's what?
Could use
Could
what?
use humor.
Humor, yeah.
I love humor. It is wonderful.
And I'm wondering how to make it possible using our website or whatever it is, so that people can contribute and appropriate material and every day people would get something. I'm still thinking it's too early a stage for me to say that I want to make that into an activity, but would people be interested, either both in contributing and reading?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yep.
Count me in. Yeah.
It might be on a website.
You know,
Yeah.
for a
I think that will also help. That will also help Wayne. That will also help people go to the website, because most people are not going to the website. This way, they will go every day to look for whatever the humor
They'll
is.
go every day for a good laugh. Yeah.
And you have to wait because in October, we're
Hmm.
changing to a new platform.
Yep.
And it's going to take a few
Yeah,
months to get it completely ready.
yeah. Dick Myers has got me involved in that, and so I am involved with this meeting. And yes, I was involved with the decision to try to change the platform.
Yeah.
Although I don't see there's too much wrong with what we have, but and it's very
Well, it's
very
not
inexpensive.
for us that it's too much wrong. It's for the office that's too much.
Yes, that's right. That's what it is.
Yes. And also we want to improve our volunteer part of the village, and it
Mm.
has a wonderful way to do that, to get
So-
volunteers involved and not have too much work in the office,
Mm.
Oh,
and
that's
yet to have a lot offered to village members and to people who want to volunteer. And it all happens kind of automatically once it gets started. So
Yes.
I think you'll see
So-
that being an advantage.
If some of you are interested in contributing to the humor thing,
Uh-huh.
maybe we can start. You can email it to me, and I'll
Uh-huh.
see what I can do with it.
Okay.
With Paula's help.
And
I'll need Paula's help in that, because it has to be not only be humorous in words, but also visually.
It has to be the right size.
And Prakash, you probably also need a moderator, unfortunately, to make sure it is appropriate.
Is it really that important for us
Is
older
it,
people?
yeah, does it
Is
really?
it really that important for us older people appropriate? Eh? Is there
Right.
something that we don't know? Is there something we still don't know? Eh? I mean, this appropriateness is, yeah, it's okay for the children and all that.
off color.
Okay, well, we're gonna wrap it up. And I really appreciate this wonderful presentation. Thank you, everyone, for coming to listen and to participate in the conversation. This was great.
Okay,
And-
good work, Karen, for keeping this going.
Thank
think
you
we're
very
gonna
much.
work- That's wonderful.
Yeah, and just you wait to see who's going to be up in November.
Thank you
Uh-oh.
very much, all of you.
Thanks, Prakash.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
I'm trying to figure out how to stop the recording. Oh, there. I can't see very well, so it's hard for me to. Okay, I think I just stopped it. Okay, we're done. That was great.
Good night. Good
Thank you so much, Prakash. That was really fun.